Yeah, hello guys. My voice is audible to every one of you? Yeah,
Yeah,
great. Thank you. So let's start the day, a great day of the event. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone from all parts of the world who have registered for this webinar, which we are having today. Hope you and your family are doing safe in COVID times. Our best wishes are with all of you. Today, we are having a great event that is related to how emerging technologies help improve shopping experience and help in the retail industry as a whole. So, to begin with, let me introduce myself and the company to all of you. My name is Nitin Naveen, and I am Vice President Innovation Strategy at AI Core Spot. I will be your host for the whole day. Further, I have been joined by my colleague Arvind and Naveen, who will also assist me in keeping the event lively and resolving technical glitches if it comes in between. So, thanks a lot to them for putting in hard work and making this one a huge success. We'll try to provide a seamless experience to all of you so that you can gain maximum output out of today's sessions. From AI Core Spot front, let me provide a small introduction. We started last year and we are gaining momentum as the time is tickling by. Our aim is to be number one AI driven community all over the world so that like minded people can be part of the same in supporting, growing, and making it a success. Our mission is to serve as a hub for information regarding all the Industry 4.0 technologies which you have heard of, which includes AI, machine learning, deep learning, robotics, blockchain, IoT, edge computing, analytics, 5G, drone, edge AI, digital twin, AR, VR, cloud, and it goes on. We'll continue to do industry backed webinars and hybrid events. The knowledge repository will be made from reliable data through industry leaders, subject matter experts, and the thought leaders. We will enrich the content through all the mediums which is there with us, that is videos, blogs, podcasts, newsletters, digital content, to shed light on this ever evolving industry. So request all of you to go through our website, that is aicorespot.io, for further updates. Also, please like our social media handles, which will keep you all updated on everything what we propose to offer in the coming months. Also, there is a half day virtual event that the theme is like learn how AI helps improve customer experience and strengthen operations for retail sector. That is happening on March 25th, where we have 12 great leaders sharing their thoughts. It's a half day virtual event, so kindly attend that too. There are lots more in store for subsequent months as well, with focus on technology in factory, manufacturing, aviation, and so on. We request all of you to keep connected with us and enjoy the learning. As said earlier, the webinar happening today is a panel discussion, which will focus on how technology is the grand differentiator and change maker in retail industry. So before starting with the day, may I request my colleague Arvind to just make a mention of our partner, technology partner, Digit 7, if we can put one slide in emblem for them so that we can start with their introduction. Arvind, are you there? Yeah. So Arvind will be sharing the one slide of Digit 7. I'd like to set up the tone for this day by special mention to our technology partner, Digit 7, who helped us in understanding our vision as suppose to create a platform through which we can help achieve our objectives. Their support is immense and guidance is superb. Some introduction about Digit 7 to everyone. So, innovation is the cornerstone of Digit 7, which you can see from their slide. Their solutions are designed to solve real time problems and are customizable to suit anyone's business. Adding to that, the products which they have can scale up at ease as the business grows. Their association with trusted partners such as AWS, Microsoft Azure, IBM, Microsoft, SAS, Adobe, Salesforce, Sterling Commerce, amongst others, help them constantly upskill practitioners and champion the partner's best delivery methodologies. Professionally, they are closely associated with tech titans, Forbes Technology Council, CompTIA, Richardson IQ, University of Texas Dallas, and many more technology brainpower to leverage their contrasting standpoints and diverse skill sets. Just to let all of you know, they have four great products, which includes Digit 7 Grab, that is called D Grab. It's a retail store which is a cashierless store. The second is digital shelves, which take into account the IoT technology to make all the shelves IoT driven one. Third is the tag square, in which you tag every object which is there in the retail store, and it can learn on its own through the machine learning technology. The fourth is the Fly Robo, which use the IoT-driven devices and it tracks the whole store in one go. So yeah, it's a complete package, and you can always go through their website, that is digit7.io, and understand more in depth about them. Also, thanks to our community partners for today, which includes InfoVision, Guild, Circuit City, Google, Shopensor, and Dallas Baptist University, who came together to make this event a success. A special mention to speakers and attendees of the event who registered and came today to achieve their objectives through this forum. At the end of the day, if you gain few knowledge driven tips out of this forum or get to network with each other, then our core objective as a platform will be achieved. Further, if anybody wants to ask questions, they can type in the Q&A section, which is there at the right corner of the menu option. You can type in as when the panel members discusses, and we'll try to get it answered at the end of the time or during the discussion as the time is permitted. There's also a hand button, which is at the bottom of the screen, through which you can even raise the hand and come to the stage to ask questions to speakers as well. So there are two options. One is Q&A, one is hand raise button. So let's begin the show. Before beginning, I'll just hand over the stage to Drew, who is the founder of Guild and is the moderator of the panel discussion too, along with Victor, Katie, Prakash, Pradeep, and Sharon, who are the speakers and the thought leaders for today, so that they can all take the panel discussion forward. So over to you, Drew. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. So excited to be moderating this panel about applications of AI in retail. Obviously, AI is pretty broad, and so I think everybody here can get a little bit more specific about what forms of AI can really change the way customers interact with our brands and stores. So we're going to start with Sharon, and it's going to ask you a couple questions, Sharon, whenever you're ready.
Yes, I'm ready, Drew.
Okay, so in your opinion, how can emerging technologies be used to surprise and delight customers and consumers?
Yeah, I believe that retailers are, going above board to actually surprise and delight customers and consumers. And I believe technology will help reimagine the store experience, both in the physical, digital, and hybrid worlds. So one of the ways most of the organizations are planning to do or already working on is through experience design, which is a discipline that develops holistic experience inclusive of all users across all aspects of service or product. So if you look into, say, a shopper, right? A shopper is coming in and looking for sneakers. I'm going to use a lot of sneaker examples today. So suppose two users are shopping for sneakers and they visit the same website, but they'll be able to see two different displays. One would be motivated based on his previous history or based on his profile. If one is a shopper is motivated by bargains, so he would see a page emphasizing on price. While a shopper who is inspired by, say, reviews, how many reviews the supplier has or the retailer has, they'll see a page highlighting ratings. So it is all depending on experience design, and increasingly organizations are going towards AI experience design, and which is automating a lot of design principles and practices, and making them able to sense what the users needs and able to respond accordingly and make it customized. Another way is building customer relationships by design. This, if you're using experience design, by default or by having all these practices, you're able to build customers' relationships. And most of the organizations are now including design principles in each and everything they do. So they're building customer experience by design. And I'd give an example of Salesforce. I was using an AI platform called Deluxe. It is deep learning UX. IBM is having something called IBM iX. It is for smarter experiences. and Adobe has something called Adobe Experience Cloud. So what they are doing is they're helping retailers reimagine the store experience, be it physical, digital, and hybrid. I had an MBA in retail management. I've been researching one organization around past 10 years, and it's an organization called Group Casino. It's a French mass market retail group. They're known for innovation. They're the first distributors distributor brand in 1901. They had a self-service store as early as 1940s. And they also are the first retail store to have these sell-by dates on their products. So what they're doing right now is they're creating something called a hybrid concept, wherein a retail unit or say regular uh, retail unit like say Walmart and all. So they're reimagining that. They came up with a concept where every retail unit is a restaurant, a grocery unit, a gourmet center, a wine cellar, a retail showroom, and a co-working space all in one a location. And they're using a combination of technologies. They're using IoT applications like Scan and Go, which allows users to pay in-app purchases. They're using IoT devices to monitor the temperature of refrigeration units. They're using QR codes. They're using blockchain. They're integrating all these things together. That is how some organizations are helping reimagine the store experience using technology. People are now retailers are looking for personalization at scale. So they're innovating an omni-channel, which is a multiple channel that you can, with COVID happening, you have people coming in through e-commerce, who are doing curbside pickups or in-store shopping. So the brick and click store experience is very customized and very personalized to users, and retailers are looking to delight shoppers with very consistent, frictionless, and safe brand experience. I also believe technology gives the ability to sense and respond to customers' needs and aspirations. It will also help connect with customers when they want it and the way they want it. So I would give an example again of Nike here, sneakers. They have a product called Crypto Kicks, which is cryptographically secure digital assets that is used to track ownership of physical shoe and also give the owner a digital replica of their shoes. So these assets are stored in a digital locker and the ownership can be transferred to a new owner at any point. So what they've created is a trading kind of mechanism wherein using Metaverse, using NFT and blockchain, what they're doing is they're creating a community, they're creating shared experience, and they are creating engagement. So I believe these are some of the ways that emerging technologies can be used to surprise and delight customers.
Great. Just kind of while we're on that same topic, as you mentioned, more NFTs and blockchain. Do you see some metaverse applications in retail that could actually be useful?
Yes, actually, on March 24th to March 27th, this month, actually, there is a metaverse fashion spring collection going on. Big brands like Dolce and Gabbana, a lot of other brands like Cavalli and all are participating in that. Other examples of metaverse include Nike, as I told you, they have something called Nike Land that is being organized on the. What they're doing is Nike is for people playing games on Roblox and all. People gamers can actually buy Nike gear, wear them while playing games, or suppose they're playing a game that is into strategy, or suppose they're playing a game that is into some of the popular games like fighting games and all. They're wearing these apparel from Nike as well. So they're using the gaming platform called Roblox. Gucci has a virtual handbag which costs around $4,000 on Roblox, where people are buying that. Samsung actually has some smart TVs that are creating NFT platform apps for trading in digital art and actually helping them come into the metaverse. Uh, Gucci also bought virtual land in the sandbox. What they're creating is they plan to create a virtual real estate so that people have the real shopping experience on the metaverse. So As I told you earlier, there is Decentraland Fashion Week, Tommy Hilfiger, and some of the brands were there. Meta Mall is an organization in India that is trying to create a mall on the metaverse, and they already have 20 brands signed up for it. So there is a lot of play going on in retail. You have also heard about Walmart. There is this video that came in viral on social media recently about they putting in products on their shopping cart, especially wine. It is actually created in 2017, but because of the popularity of Metaverse, they actually showed it again in 2021. Mostly the retailers are doing it for three things: for creating community experience and engagement. If you look into brands like Peloton, Lululemon, and REI, they're actually creating community using Metaverse. Nike is also creating a community using Metaverse, wherein their coaches, their health experts are coming up and doing personalized training. So yeah, these are some of the Metaverse applications in retail these days, and I think it's just the beginning point, starting point, and I think more and more brands will land up here. It's just about creating immersive experiences, and it is across all platforms like physical, digital, as well as the metaverse, the mixed reality kind of things.
Great. Thank you for that. So we're going to move on to Katie. Katie, do you want to introduce yourself quickly? I think I kind of skipped the introductions, but.
No, yeah, absolutely. So my name is Katie Osborne, and I actually work for Google, and I head up retail partnerships for a new part of Google, which we call our business communications team. And our team is really responsible for connecting consumers and users on Google surfaces to their favorite brands and businesses in much more meaningful ways. We can also do this from brand-owned surfaces, and so I can tell you guys a bit about some of the more exciting products in just a little bit, but that's kind of what I work on here at Google.
Great. So it sounds like you're working on some exciting conversational technology that's designed to help improve and enhance consumer experiences across Google services. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for some folks tuning in, you might have heard of Google's business messages, but in terms of just like it being a brand recognized name right now, I would venture to guess that it's mostly net new to all of you guys. So if you've got your mobile device nearby, I think it's actually a bit easier to understand if you pop this up on your phone. But whether or not you have an Android or iOS device, this will work just fine. But if you go to google.com right now and you were to type in something like Walmart, Burbank, California, what we're going to pop up is what we call the Google Place page for that specific store in California. You'll notice now between the call, directions, and website button, we've now surfaced this opportunity to chat with your favorite brands and businesses. So that's creating a direct conversational entry point where you can chit chat with Walmart about a variety of different things. You might just have a simple question. You might have a customer service related question, but oftentimes within the store context, you're trying to determine if something's actually available. During COVID in particular, for example, like grocery stores saw in the grocery sector, we saw an 800% increase year over year in near me product related queries. So in that instance, if you think back to like peak COVID, when it certainly wasn't safe to necessarily leave your home in some cases, you might have to go to like 8 different stores and like still not find the product you're looking for. So if you could just message a company like Walmart to say, hey, do you have toilet paper in stock? They let you know any and all options in this beautiful card carousel that they've got available, or they might say, yeah, we're completely out of stock. There's this now asynchronous messaging channel that we're creating between the user, so you and google.com, and the brand, in this example being Walmart, where Walmart could even say, like, do you want me to reach back out to you in 2 days and see if, or do you want me to reach back out to you when toilet paper becomes available again? So in that particular instance, they could send you, the user, a message because this is now a conversational asynchronous messaging channel. And so we're trying to do that in the moments that matter on Google search surfaces, such that, again, like we know consumers prefer to message with their favorite brands and businesses the same way that they do their friends and family. 2/3 of people actually raise their hand and now say, yeah, I'm message a business and speak with the user. And that's because it's just simply more convenient and it puts it on the user's terms. So if I can give you an example, like in the instance in which you've tuned in to this session today and you think the content's really interesting, you could have actively paid attention. You could have messaged somebody in your family on your mobile device. You could have probably chatted with a colleague on like a messaging platform and still been engaged. And that's because it's substantially more convenient and you can come and go as you please. The same technology functions differently than, say, like the web chat you're used to. So let's say you went to an airline's website and you started to chat with them on web chat and say something like, hey, I booked this flight, but I need to reschedule. Here's my really unique circumstance, blah, blah, blah. You realized you were late to tune into this webinar today. You popped into the webinar. Then 60 minutes later, you went back to that chat with, said airline and said, right, where was I? Usually you have that agent or that automation and AI experience on the front end come back and say like, hey, how can I help? And you're like, I just spent all this time giving you this contextual information. Like, why should I have to repeat myself? The beauty of this new conversational technology that exists between users on google.com and brands is that it's asynchronous. So the user can come back to that conversation in 2 minutes, 2 days, or even 2 weeks later and pick up right where they left off. And in many cases, this experience is built on the back end with conversational AI and automation on the front end and humans on the back end. So like an example, good question for, say, Walmart that they should automate, and they do automate today, is, hey, do you have this particular item in stock? There's no way a human's going to be able to check a computer, put together products in a carousel and deliver it to you in real time. So that's where like automation and AI comes in to deliver the products available. But then we could even take into account like logged in users in the future and only deliver you products that you frequently shop and enjoy. So that's kind of how this works. And then if you had a certain situation where you really did need to speak to a human, so let's say in the instance of, I placed an online order, 4 things showed up at my house, but I actually placed an order for 5 things. How do I reconcile this so I can get the 5th thing and not be charged extra? And frankly, I really need it. That's probably a good fit for the conversation to go to a human. So we're creating these hybrid experiences that can delight and serve customers, but also are substantially more economical for businesses, knowing that contact center costs are really expensive, to be quite frank. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. But yeah, you guys will probably start noticing as you interact with businesses, in particular retailers, on Google Maps and Google Search, that there's now this messaging button that's popping up, and that's the partnerships that I lead here at Google.
That's super interesting. I like how you guys just kind of add that in the UI, and not a lot of people notice until you kind of made us aware. But I'm sure it'll become a normal part of our lives going forward. Do you expect this technology to evolve over time, or where do you see it going from here?
Totally. It's funny. I think back to things like Uber. So at the time when Uber came out, I was living in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I now live in Chicago, and Chicago is certainly a larger market where the application is going to take hold much quicker than, say, a smaller area like Ann Arbor. And my friends were telling me about this Uber thing when I was moving back to Chicago. They're like, yeah, it's fantastic. It's cheaper than a cab. And I'm like, hang on. Let me understand this. A random car that you don't know just comes to picks you up and then you hope that they're going to take you to the right location. And they're like, yeah, it's fantastic. I was like, and again, much more cost effective. I was like, cheaper than a kidnapping? Like, this seems crazy to me. I'm not going to go get in some stranger's car. And now we use the word Uber like we would Kleenex or things like that. I think of this technology in the same way. So today, if I realized I can message Walmart, I might just be like, do you offer buy online, pick up in store? Like, what is the pharmacy hours, or something really, really basic? It's going to be FAQ driven. But as people understand they can message with their favorite brands and businesses, they're going to start to demand a little bit more. So Sharon talked about athletic shoes. Imagine you're running your first marathon or something like that, or even like a 5K, something more approachable. And you message Nike, like, hey, I'm a brand new runner. I have no idea what kind of shoes I would need. Nike could then use conversational AI to make recommendations of products you might need, and then you could check out. And because this is asynchronous technology, from a loyalty and marketing perspective, now Nike could reach back out to that same user in 2 weeks time and say like, hey, how's training going? So we do believe that today it might be used for like FAQs, but we absolutely believe this technology is going to be used for conversational commerce. And most importantly, I think building really meaningful connections between users and remembering things about them that you use contextually for future conversations to be assistive rather than salesy.
Yeah, it's almost like Google is providing a hyper local Amazon like customer service experience for these retailers. So that's really cool. You had mentioned before, very briefly, hybrid conversational experiences, ones that lead with automation or bots on the front end, and then in parallel, humans on the back end. Do you think AI tech is at a place to make these retail experiences truly frictionless for consumers?
I think the technology exists today. In fact, I know it does. I know obviously the GCP suite of products, I know the Google Cloud platform pretty well. But if you look at like Microsoft's technology, Amazon's technology, a lot of proprietary technology that exists with messaging partners I work with day to day, it's absolutely there. It's just a matter of like, we can't boil the ocean all at once. So I often encourage folks to take on smaller projects first that are going to be incrementally helping people at scale. So the capabilities of I think, are substantially more advanced than what people are using this for today. But things that we'd want to understand is like people's buying habits, and then associating certain behaviors or things that we know about customers with particular conversational accounts, and then making recommendations accordingly. So I do think, again, the AI tech exists there. It's maybe not the sophisticated experience that you need to prioritize building and delivering to consumers tomorrow. But I do think, again, consumers are going to quite quickly adopt this. It's going to be mainstream behavior sooner rather than later. And that's when they're going to begin to demand more sophisticated experiences. And that's when you're really going to have to lean into, I think, AI technology to deliver best in class frictional experiences. So I guess the short answer is yes, I believe the technology exists. Do I think prioritizing really sophisticated user journeys today and conversational experience is a top priority? Probably not. I would say getting live, seeing the kinds of conversations you're having with customers, and then prioritizing those user journeys accordingly is probably the best path forward.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's also just getting the customer and consumer used to interacting in this way, right? And then you can add capabilities after it becomes more relevant. There's a term that I find keeps coming up in the retail that I wanted to ask you about called conversational marketing. Could you tell me a little bit more about that and why retailers do you think should care?
Yeah, I think what's so powerful about this channel is that it's designed to be assistive. So I was talking to, we'll call them Fortune 500 retailer, a fairly large one that I'm sure everybody's familiar with. And I remember the president saying to me, like, cool, we can use this technology to push promotions to consumers. And I was like, because it's async and, I could reach back out. 2 days later, I say, hey, we've got a sale going on. I was like, you could, but you shouldn't. And in fact, for us, it's kind of a policy violation. We would turn you off because the intent of the channel here is to be assistive. So in the instance of go back to that like running example, if I said something like, can you make the running recommendation, and I reach back out in 2 weeks and say, hey, how are you liking your new shoes? And I'm like, oh, they're fantastic. I love them. Thanks so much. Great recommendation. You might also flag something like, you said you're a first time runner. It's now fall going into the winter. And we actually have a sale coming up on winter running gear. Maybe it's something you need, maybe it's not, but just wanted to bring this to your attention. So the interaction there could absolutely result in a sale, but it wasn't the purpose and the intent that the business started reaching out with. So that's where you're going to build relationships and you become now this trusted assistant. So when I think about, I need new things for my new sport of running, I'm going to go to Nike first because I built this relationship. So that's where conversational marketing comes in, where it's like, we're really focusing on loyalty and increasing the lifetime value of existing customer bases. And then we go back to making conversational commerce like truly frictionless because of the ease and like everybody can remember, the first time they went on Amazon and went, hang on, I selected and I checked out in 3 clicks. Like, this is fantastic. Like, it's such a time saver. That's what's going to keep customers coming back. So when you hear the term conversational marketing, it's really about, building relationships, but it's also about inserting conversation technology into existing ad units that marketers already buy today. So in the example of like, say you were like an appliance retailer and you're buying an ad on the keyword on google.com, something like best refrigerator brands. I'm probably at the beginning of my search, right? So I'm just seeing what's out there, what brands are available. Like it could take me like 14 to 30 days before I make a buying decision. But if in the conversational ad unit you see that pops up on the top of your Google search has a message button, you speak to a refrigerator expert or something like that, then I might get pulled down the funnel in real time. If I'm speaking to a human or sophisticated AI that looks and feels human, that's asking me a bunch of questions and then making product recommendations on what's most important to me, whether that's shipping speed, like maybe your refrigerator's gone out and you need the thing tomorrow. Maybe it's price point. Maybe it's, durability and, how long you can actually have that, like what's the average life cycle of said product. But either way, inserting conversation into what we call kind of the moments that matter at Google provides a lot of value to users. And from a conversational marketing perspective, you can increase the conversion rates of ads that you already purchased today, making your investment go that much further. So that's kind of what the term refers to. And WhatsApp and Facebook and a handful of other businesses have conversational ad units available for people to deploy campaigns on. But again, it is a buzzword. I think it's going to get even bigger, but understanding what it means and the long-term value is probably the most important part about understanding the strategy.
I think we're doing good with time. We had a quick question that I just want to get to before moving on, because I was a little bit interested as well. How complicated is it to integrate, this interaction button within the retailer's, existing IT landscape, et cetera? Because I know, it's one thing that we have all this technology to really help, but integrating, especially in some legacy retailers, is a little bit harder than expected. Do you have anything to say about that, or?
Yeah, and I can actually keep it brief, to be totally honest. We give businesses effectively access to what's called the Business Messages API, which is what takes you from the Google surface, or it could be taking you from like a brand on surface. Like you could replace web chat with business messages on your website if you wanted to, into the conversation with you, the brand. Most brands already have conversational messaging experiences, and the goal here is to not recreate that. So this technology is a bring your own bot, bring your own messaging partner platform. We just give you, again, the API, which is what's going to take them from the Google search surface into the conversation that you own and operate. And again, like I said, it can be entirely live agent driven, or it can be automation on the front end, humans on the back end. So it's decently straightforward. We have a live developer website that you can find pretty easily. So if I just typed in business messages developer website to Google, you're going to find it as a top search result. But if you're a smaller business, like say like a mom and pop grocery store, like down the street or something like that, you can turn on business messages, and then the conversations that you get from customers, it's going to look kind of like SMS as opposed to the rich conversations that business messages can support today. But that would just be a human or a store manager responding in an application to user incoming queries. So that would be the less sophisticated version. But the goal for medium to large size businesses would be that you repurpose your existing tech. You just plug it into a new conversational entry point, one being google.com that drives a lot of traffic.
Great. And then, are you guys really concentrated on bigger, medium-sized companies right now, or
for us,
smaller Shopify kind of, smaller independent brands?
A little bit of both, but I would say the best way for us to educate users that they can now message with their favorite brands and businesses is to get like Walmart's live, Home Depot's live, like in particular the ones that you visit more than once a month. Like Albertsons brands are live for both grocery and pharmacy. And so that's our best way to educate people, is to say, okay, if I interact, the average person goes to the grocery store some like 55 times per year. If each time you look for the grocery store to like navigate on your mobile device, you see this messaging button, that's another educational opportunity for us to call this out to a user. So that is our primary focus from a scaling perspective right now. But all the collateral exists online, and it is it's an open forum. Anybody can participate right now. It is a live product and has been since about June of 2020.
No, that's great. I think that you guys are giving a good functionality like to hyper local physical retail, which I think has been a little bit left behind with with the growth of Amazon. So I think that's really exciting. So all right, thank you for that, Katie. We really appreciate it. We're going to move on to Pradeep. Pradeep, do you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Yeah. Yeah. Hi. Hi, everybody. This is Pradeep. I'm the founder and CEO of shopnz.com. So we started a couple of years back during the mid of the pandemic. So we realized the potential of online business, how the pandemic had effect on online business. So we actually launched it very small, and then looking at the potential, we were pretty surprised. In the very first, very first 2 months, we saw a huge number of audience, landing on a website, and there was a lot of people buying stuff online. So we eventually, got in. I mean, I pulled in a lot of my brothers and my cousins to partner with me, and we as a team started expanding. And yeah, here we are now.
Great. So let's just start with a very broad and general question for you. How do you think future technology is going to make online shopping more convenient? Ultimately, I think that's what we're all looking for, right? For customers, is to make it more convenient and offering a more expansive UX. So what are your thoughts?
I think technology has already made shopping experience very convenient for the customers, to be honest. A few years before, if you see myself, I wasn't very comfortable buying things online because unless I feel the product or I see it physically, let's say I'm buying a shirt, if I don't try it, I'm not comfortable buying it. But now, technology has made it more easier, with AI, where you can, actually see yourself wearing the shirt or wearing the trousers or whatever you want to buy. So things like this has made customers, has made it more convenient for the customers to buy things online. And next comes the trust factor. So I'm not going to buy something from online retailer who I have no idea about. If there's a physical store, I know I can still go and get a refund, or if there's a damage, or if there's anything, any other issues with the product, I can still go and get it. Back in those days, you cannot. It was not easy to trust things. Trust buying online. But nowadays, you got reviews about the seller, about the product, and pretty much everything you want. People are posting pictures and videos of the product they've already got, so it is actually something that you can trust and buy. And then there were issues with people were so hesitant to use their debit or credit cards online. Even now, a few people in India, they're not very comfortable using their cards online. They think it could be hacked, or it could be it could be there could be a fraudulent charge, something. And then the payment gateways held up the game. They become more secure, and there are a lot of payment gateways now that actually focuses more on the security of the card, more than making it faster. And I mean, of course, there's a small charge on all that, but it's become more secure eventually compared to what it was a few years back. And then there are a lot of other factors which were stopping people from buying on things online, but things are still improving, and we still have a long way to go. So I think technology has definitely helped a lot, and with pandemic, it we just advanced like 10 years forward. We just moved 10 years forward in the last 2 years, to be honest. If not for the pandemic, the development wouldn't have been. If there was no opportunity, obviously people wouldn't have gone for it. So there was an opportunity, and the technology actually was developed, based on people's demand. So thanks to pandemic, in a way, it has improved a lot of things technologically. But obviously there are little pros and cons with that. Yeah, so more or less, we're still midway through, I would say. Sharon was speaking about NFT and Metaverse. I believe in a few years down the line, people are going to be buying more digital assets than actual physical assets. We were mocking at the millennials for buying, skins in games, where they're spending a lot. But people are now buying expensive stuff like, luxury bags, sneakers, real estate for that matter, online. So no one is actually going to experience it, but it's just digital assets. So people are more concerned. People are going to be more concerned about buying things digital than physical. So a few years down the line, it is going to be the millennials who are actually going to be working professionals and earning more than what we actually did when we started as working professionals. So I think all this put together, 10 years down the line, we could see more digital assets being bought by the customers than actual physical assets. People are going to be sitting in their bedroom with VR headsets and going to be living a life virtually rather than living physically. Except food, I think no one else is going to buy things physically. That's what's going to happen in a few days. I mean, we don't know where it's going to go. We didn't know that these could come 10 years before, and now we are here. So we think this is going to happen after 10 years, but we don't know. We could be even more advanced. So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I think that just from my view, I don't know if necessarily people are gonna be buying more digital assets, especially with NFTs, but I think that what we're going to expect, or the consumer is going to expect, is when you buy a physical good, especially a luxury good, they are going to expect also a digital version of that good, right? So it's something that you can
Could be.
actually
Could be.
wear in real life, which is awesome, and then also have that digital representation of that product that you can, either use an NFT, which is a very good use case, is for ownership, so it can't be counterfeited, especially if you're buying something very expensive. And also just an application, eventually, if things go the way we think they are, to be able to use that physical asset digitally in the metaverse. So that's kind of just
Or
my
it could be
view.
the other way around also. Buy a digital asset and expect a physical asset in return.
Exactly. Great. So how do you think AI will really help with a bespoke or customized content experience to each, specific to each customer?
So I think with cookies tracking pretty much all our browsing history, and to be honest, it's even tracking a microphone. Sometimes I'm so surprised. I think of something in my mind and it pops up on my screen as an advertisement. It's pretty creepy and actually surprising. So I don't know if it actually happens or it's just I think it is that way. So AI is going to make it even more interesting and bespoke for every individual. You'll probably end up buying everything that you see as an advertisement in your social media, because it's going to be more specific based on your buying history and your experiences and what you're going through in life. Uh, I mean, that's going to be every retailer's target. We don't want to be showing ads to people who don't want to buy things. When we show something, because when you do social media ads, you pretty much pay for every click and every view. So you want everything to be a conversion. So AI is going to make it even more better. You'll end up getting 100% conversion rate in some time. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. We're already getting better conversion rates every day because the target audience are getting more specific. So based on historic purchases and the cookies and all the information and the data put together, it's going to be pretty interesting. The consumers might find it creepy, but still, that's what it's. I mean, it's what I mean. That's how it's going to be for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of the evolution of technology, right? You find it creepy at
Yeah,
first, and then you just get used to it,
we
and it's
get
part of
used to it.
everyday
Exactly.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if we've really figured that out yet. If Instagram is listening to us, right? But it always seems to
for
find
sure.
whatever we're talking about, you see an ad for it an hour later. Uh,
For sure.
so it's a good way to get your partner to buy you whatever you want, though, right? You're talking to their phone. Golf clubs, right? Um, Last question for you. How do you
Mhm.
think AI can help us with our shopping lists? Based on our scenarios or activities?
It should mean, for example, I went on a trekking trip last week. So I had no idea what to wear because it's my first time. So I didn't know what to buy, what to wear, what should I be shopping for. And I was going through a list of stuff online which I should be getting. And from the organizer who gave me a list of what I should be carrying in my backpack. So probably, AI could come up with solution. Let's say I put in things to buy on a trekking trip. At this moment, I would probably Google it. So if the shopping websites can come up with solutions like that, things to buy when you go for particular, let's say you're going for a birthday party, you're going for a trekking trip, or you're going for a skiing, this thing. So anything of that sort. So if we, AI could come up with a solution let's say based on your particular activity. We could be doing different things at different times, and everyone has a first time. So like how it happened to me, last week. So, with technology, we could make it even more easier for people to get things online. So yeah.
Could replace our thinking for us, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly. You don't
all
want to
right.
be wasting time,
Yeah,
sorting out
no,
a
it's
list of what to buy.
it's true. I mean, packing and stuff like that for first time things is the worst.
Yeah.
You want to add anything else before we move on to your brother?
No, no, that's good. I'm good.
Okay,
Just more
great.
Prakash.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks. All right, Prakash, you're up. You want to give a little intro, and then we'll get
Yeah, I
into
do.
some of your questions.
So, hi everyone. I'm a co-founder of Shopinzer. Right now, I live in Canada. I'm a happiness coach as well. I used to help people to come out of anxiety, all this stuff. This online shopping is pretty new to me as well. 2, 3 years back, I was also not very comfortable buying online because, as Pradeep was telling, like online payment fraudulent. Then I want to feel the product, all this stuff. But when I started this online business, I felt how comfortable nowadays it is to shop online. It saves a lot of time, money, and some websites even give out how the product feels like. Also, we can experience it. That's how it is. That's it.
So first question for you, how do you see advancement in tech, really specifically in social media? How's that helping in the expansion of online businesses?
Good question, actually. See, I used to watch a lot of televisions like 4, 5 years back, but now I would say I don't even have a television. Social media have replaced television. Like whatever ads we see, people get more influence from social media, like Facebook, Insta, Google. Wherever you go, you see ads. Like some are compulsory ads even, and we get to know a lot of things via social media, like even news, what's happening around the world. Everything is through social media. In fact, like as a shopping company, we have a social media page and everything. Like we have a Facebook page, we have an Insta page, we have a LinkedIn page, and the kind of response, kind of views, and kind of popularity we are getting through the social media is like abundant. As Pradeep was telling, like we are like 10 years forward. In the span of 2 years, our growth is tremendous, abundant, I would say. Like nowadays, the influencers have become more popular, and influencer marketing is like becoming one of the main source of advertising. In fact, like the cost involved and the kind of reach. In fact, like when I used to do the traditional business back in India, I used to advertise something in a newspaper or something. It spreads only to a particular city or maybe maximum to India. But the cost involved is like huge when it's going to be like on the country level. But when I advertise through social media, like influencer marketing, influencer can have audiences from throughout the world. In fact, to be surprising, we are shipping to more than 120 countries in the last 1 year, which would have not been possible without the social media. In fact, like when I want to place ads in Google or like Facebook or some other platform, I can choose a country, I can choose a region, or I can choose the entire world. The kind of cost when you compare to the traditional marketing stuff is totally surprising, and the kind of reach and the conversion rate is so high that I don't think the world will go back to traditional business in few years time. This what to say, like online shopping and this social media advertising and all this stuff will become very common, that every layman will also start using it. That's how it will work, I think.
That's a good point. It's yeah, thinking about ads and social media. It's like I think if you see a regular ad on TV now, that's like a minute. It seems like so long.
Exactly.
You
See,
know,
we also understood
it
some
seems like forever. It's like
yeah, we also understood some kind of stuff. Any ads more than 30, 40 seconds, people are not ready to watch. So we have cut down all our ads below 30 seconds. That's how it works nowadays. People's like concentration, the time has gone down a lot. In fact, like I used to ask my professor during the college, why a period is set for 50 minutes? Is there any particular thing for that? He used to tell, based on the research in the previous days, a human can concentrate on one subject for 52 minutes to 1 hour. But now I would say it is like 30 seconds, not more than that. That's how the impact we are having based on this current technology and all this stuff.
yeah, no, it's our attention span is a lot smaller and quicker. You're right. All right, so how do you see tech and AI really affecting the differences between traditional shopping and online shopping?
Yeah, as I told before, both have pros and cons. Like traditional shopping, I would say right now, I think both are having the equal weightage. Traditional shopping, we can go directly and feel the product. And as Pradeep was saying, like the refunds, returns used to be very easy. But now, I mean, I used to have a fear like whether I can return the product, how long it will take, because I spent my money. So suppose it's going to take 15-20 days to get the refund. I have to wait for that money to buy the product again. Then credit card, security issues, all this stuff is there. But end of the day, the biggest advantage with traditional shopping is the satisfaction we get. We go directly and I mean, I don't know about other countries. When in India, there are particularly in the main cities, like the kind of recreation we have is shopping and restaurant. So it's not about like saving time, but when you go for a traditional shopping, we spend a lot of time with the family and other stuff. But when it comes to online shopping, right now I am in Canada. I'm in a province called Saskatchewan. So here it's a very remote place. Like I don't get everything what I get in Toronto. So even I go out to get some things, like I have very little options, hardly like 2-3 shops over here. Where I mean, otherwise I have to travel to the other city, which is like 1 hour from here, one way. So I'm gonna spend a whole day to buy something very normal. So in these cases, like online shopping is very convenient for me. And nowadays, like you can, there are like auto boards like which answer all your questions, and you can even see if the particular. I mean, when I suppose I want to buy a T-shirt for small or medium, whatever size, they are given size in every part of the T-shirt so that I can measure my size and I can see whether it suits or what. So all this time saving and also like the kind of money which is involved in traditional shopping is also reduced. Like it's a matter of 5 minutes and travel. My travel expenses reduce, all this stuff. So both have their pros and cons. But nowadays, like I'm more comfortable with online shopping. But when you ask me like 3-4 years back, I don't even look for online shopping unless and otherwise it is not available in my country or my place. Like but now I would say like 90% I go online. If I don't get, then I go to a traditional shopping. In fact, like consider my business, like had I started a traditional, I too had a traditional business before. Like I was, I'm based on Chennai that time. So my business expanded throughout South India, but it took 6-7 years to expand to South India. Imagine, like now within a span of 2 years, we are selling to 120 countries, which is like I don't think it's very much possible in traditional kind of shopping.
Yeah, no, I think what you're saying is actually coming back to what Katie is doing with Google, is really trying to improve that traditional shopping experience so you can not waste your time going to the store if they don't have the item, right? So,
Exactly.
yeah, it's come full circle. All right, last question. How do you think we can improve the customer experience in regards to customer service with technology and online shopping? I mean, I know there's a lot of customer frustration. Yes, there is full-time service, but these bots are a little frustrating. It's almost worse than nothing. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. Like bots are sometimes like frustrating, but A is like unlimited. Like there is no limitations. We can improve. Like every day we are improving. I mean, suppose I take any popular website. 1 year back, went to auto reply chat like from bots. It is different, but now it's totally different. People are involving a lot of stuff so that the bots can reply better. But still, there's a lot to be improved because like I would say previously when I want to call a company, I have to call, I have to press 1, 2, 3 and wait for 15-20 minutes to connect to the right person, which is like time consuming. In fact, like most of the people, they hang up. In fact, I don't have the patience to wait for 10-15 minutes. And instead I would say like I would have this product, not return it. Or I mean, I will not shop at all. It's pre-shopping. Like I have some doubts. I want to know what is the material. Is there any discount, something? I call somebody. It takes a lot of time. But with this AS, we get a reply at least in 2-3 minutes time or sometimes immediately. But the only problem with auto reply AI bots is like sometimes they cannot connect to us emotionally. Suppose regular standard questions they can answer, but when there is something emotionally involved, the customer is angry, and the AI will respond the same way it responds to a happy customer as well. That is a problem. At end of the day, we end up calling up the customer care. That's what happens. But apart from this, we can. I believe with time, these things can be sorted out. With 2-3 years down the line, emotional intelligence can also be included in the A part, and it can bring a better customer experience. Along with that, like as Pradeep was telling, like when everyone was speaking, suppose we browse something or we chat something or we do something, we speak also. The ad comes up and when we go in, like it shows us the product what you're talking about. talking about, and it also adds a bundle, like you can buy also along with this. People used to buy, when they buy this, they buy this product also along. All this stuff definitely is increasing. I mean, has increased the customer experience for sure, but I would say like it can be increased a more lot, and like I believe I'll see it in few years down the line.
Yeah, for sure. You know, this comes back to like a data issue with us with everything, right? The more data we can use machine learning with, the better we can get this customer service experience.
Exactly. Data science is growing big every day.
Yeah. Great. You want to add anything else?
That's it. Good for it.
Okay. Victor, we'll move on to you. Our last speaker. You can give a little intro, and as one of the few people on the panel with real retail experience, should be interesting.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And I'm Victor. I'm with Circuit City. We are a consumer electronics-based retailer in the United States. Been around since 1948 or so. And it's actually fascinating to be part of this panel because I was listening to Sharon, I was listening to Katie, and I was thinking, we're doing the same stuff that they're talking about. So it's interesting. With Sharon, he was talking about personas really, and how do we create personas for different people using AI and automation. And we've been thinking about that for years and how to perfect that. For example, in consumer electronics, again, it's a little bit complicated because you have different people who want different technologies in different times. So you have early adopters that want like the latest, greatest tech gizmo. Then you have the mainstream audience that are looking for regular products. And then it gets even more complicated because you have people in specific ecosystems, right? I'm an Apple guy, I'm an Android guy. Well, if you're an Apple guy, I don't want to show you Android products. And if I'm an Android guy, why am I showing you Apple products? It's, we've been working towards creating those personas for many years, and AI is definitely a component of that on a real world perspective. In terms of what Katie is talking about, it's huge. We've been thinking about that for many years, and in consumer electronics, it gets even more complicated. And I give you a use case scenario. We have people in our chats asking the most complicated questions, like, "Hey, my daughter is going to college next year. What laptop do you recommend for my daughter who's going to college or school?" So the AI bot has to recognize, okay, it's a computer product, not for the adult, but for his daughter, and what age group is the daughter, and what product range, and what specifications does the product need to be for that recommendation. And it gets a little bit more complicated. And then we get even different types of questions like, hey, does this product come with a battery? So then we have to go to the spec sheet and figure out, okay, does this data point have a battery in there to give back the recommendations, to give back the answer to the customer. So all those things have been in the works for many years. And I think AI is getting better at it. And I think Katie was right on the ball when she said, is it practical now? I'm not sure. We're trying to make it practical, but it's certainly going to help because the contact center costs are crazy high, as everybody's mentioned before. But those are exactly the same things that we're thinking about as retailers, and it's great to see how other people are thinking about that as well.
Sure. So when you speak about this, like, what is your, I'm not just up to date on like your breakdown between physical retail and online. So as you guys are like dealing with these technologies, is there a focus more, on improving the physical experience, retail experience, or are you guys kind of like really pushing towards providing a better online experience, or both, or do you have any?
Yeah, we don't have any physical stores anymore, but we
Okay.
are in e-commerce. So everything that we do is at the moment is trying to get the best user experience as we can for the customers. And that's consumer electronics is not what it used to be. Now you could buy the same stuff in every retailer: Walmart, Costco, Best Buy, Amazon. So, and I think Sharon was brilliant when he said it's about building and creating communities. It's exactly what we're trying to do as well.
Yeah, for sure. Because especially I think for consumer electronics, it's hard to replace the wow factor of seeing like, one of these brand new OLED TVs, right? When you go and see it in person.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
yeah. No, it's interesting what you're saying because I think it's almost like the future is bringing these like long tail Google questions into the individual brand retailer, right? It's like exactly what you said. It's like
Yeah,
instead
yeah,
of instead of just broadly searching on Google, what's the best computer, for my daughter, and then I go and spend, you know, an hour researching, and then I have to go spend another hour finding the cheapest computer. You know what I mean? Within all retailers, it's like bringing it in house, so it's like a one stop, right?
yeah. And I think one of the things that we lose out with all this AI technology is just a sense of discovery. So I like to tell a story. Back in the day, I used to go shop in Circus City when I was a kid, and I used to roam the aisles of retail stores, and that's how I discovered, that's how I discovered new technology, and that's how I loved learning about technology. Um, and that's we're trying to figure out how to do that as well at Circuit City, because right now everything is kind of like drive traffic to a PDP page or a product recommendation page. You lose that sense of discovery. Everything's just like commoditized product. So how do we get that back into e-commerce is a question that we think about on a daily basis.
Yeah, I mean, now that you guys don't have to worry about your physical, footprint, I think that you have the ability to maybe, concentrate on this future, right? This future virtual experience, which can kind of bring back that shock and awe of having, an in-store experience with consumer electronics. And it kind of actually goes to a question that somebody asked um, about technology, blurring the line between reality and virtual. What they say? Sion said, "We saw the advent of AR experiences at physical locations. Can VR be leveraged to bring the store to the customer's home? The only difference being their virtual visitor." Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, obviously, it's an adoption issue. I think that, although with Oculus and everything, I still think for the average consumer, there's an adoption issue. And if we can get over that hurdle of the adoption issue, then yeah, obviously VR is a great technology, especially if eventually we do build this metaverse. I don't know in what format it'll come about in, but yeah, I think it'll definitely change an experience like Circuit City. All right, guys. Does anybody else want to add anything? I think we got through. I don't know if anybody. I'm going to open up the questions. I think we have one question here, Lang. How will emerging technologies facilitate the trader-buyer relationship? Will it make it more intimate, personal experience, or an impersonal, data-driven experience? Anybody want to jump on that?
I'm just trying to understand the question. What's the trader buyer experience? Is
Yeah,
that like
I'm not sure what that is either. Is that just consumer, like a customer? Um, I mean, I think in regards to consumers and just brands, I mean, obviously the goal is to provide a more intimate, expansive experience. And I think that at least what I'm working on, and I don't know if I gave my bio when I started, unfortunately, but I'm really concentrating on using these technologies in a to provide a better customer experience, especially UX on e-commerce and virtual sizing. And I think what a lot of people, I know Prakash and Pradeep said is, we've had 10 years of growth because of COVID in e-commerce in 2 or 3 months, really. It's not even years, and what that has resulted in is a lot of legacy retailers, especially in fashion, they always had retail to fall back on. And so this conversion or transformation to putting the resources into a very good e-commerce virtual experience was kind of they didn't have to buy fully in. However, COVID really changed that, and so now what you're seeing is a situation where brands really need to integrate this technology in a thoughtful way. Customers now expect it, and so now everybody's kind of scrambling, right? And I think that um, it's a very, I kind of like, my experience is more in the fashion sector, so I'm going to kind of focus on that. But it's a very strange situation where we have the technology to solve a lot of the inefficiencies in fashion, especially when you're speaking about e-commerce or virtual experience. Um, but it is hard to integrate of this technology into these brands and stuff like that. So, we're at a stage where we have all the technology to solve the inefficiencies, and now we're just finding a way to thoughtfully integrate it into these brands. And I think that what you will see is brands that are really able to integrate this technology in a way that's invisible, that looks like magic to the consumer, are the ones that are really going to succeed in this digital era, right? And along with the metaverse and stuff like that. But companies that are able to be agile and you know, unfortunately for fashion, a lot of these brands are legacy and heritage brands and very, very slow to move. And I think, especially for these bigger fashion conglomerates, bureaucracy and just the size of them, it's very hard to integrate anything. And, these brands aren't able to really, be agile and change quickly, are going to have a hard time. Let's see. We have, I think we have, 5 more minutes, Mateen?
Yeah, so there is a last question which has come, I think.
Yeah, sure. So, what is the future of retail in the metaverse? What are the challenges facing now and in the future? The virtual land costs more on sandbox and decentralized, and how medium businesses, retailers can overcome. I mean, I know I can comment on it. I think the future of retail and the metaverse is all dependent on, again, adoption, right? I think it's unclear right now exactly what format the metaverse is going to be. Is it going to be more of a very fun gaming thing, or is it going to be something that's very useful, or is it going to be a more of a Ready Player One scenario where, where life is maybe so hard for a large population in the world, where maybe their living conditions are very small, like in Tokyo, where you actually do want to plug into a virtual reality experience that is better than your physical real life. And so I think it really is. It's very early, right? And I think metaverse is kind of just a buzzword without really seeing how it will morph into how we adopt, right? And how we plug into it and how we interact with it. So I think that that's kind of like the challenge, and brands are kind of like, at a standstill waiting to see what what that format will be without trying to get like left behind and be at the forefront, right? It's like,
I
for
think we
Nike,
don't know yet.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, Pradeep, please.
we
I think
don't
still
know,
the
and I think that brands like don't want to miss the opportunity, right? So they're just got to kind of dip their toe.
I see that it was written by someone named Innovation Bot. Wow, that's great. So, for me, regarding the virtual land costing more on Sandbox and Decentraland, it's just two platforms that are out there. I think there are more platforms that will come in, and that democratization would take place, so the value of land might decrease. I'm not saying it will decrease for sure. Again, I've seen a case where someone bought a house for 400K because it just stays next to their favorite rapper on Sandbox. 400K for a house, a virtual house, a metaverse house, just because it's near to his favorite rapper. So, talking about that, it's again very early into the days regarding the future of retail in metaverse. Brands are actually want to create this communities and, as I told you, experiences and engagement, and that's where they're coming on to the metaverse. But there are a lot of challenges and kinds of payments. What if everyone is having their own payments on metaverse? Walmart is coming up with its own currency. Might be Target come up with its own currency. So how do you have the everyone using the same kind of currency there, same kind of platform. So I think those are some of the issues there. And Drew was saying about people accepting this as a technology, wearing their headsets, right, wearing their Oculus Rifts, adoption and all. So would people adopt that? Is there a cost of learning for it? So these are the things that we would be keenly looking into the future. But again, regarding medium businesses not having the opportunity to buy land on, say, Metaverse kind of thing because of costs, I think there would be other platforms that will be coming in, and that would actually democratize the land, and there would be a little bit of what you call not that expensive land on Metaverse. That's my take on it.
Thank
I
you,
think there's a
Sharon.
little bit of
Pradeep, please add on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of hype when it comes to, sandbox and, decentralized at the moment because it's pretty new and we still don't know where is it going to go. So I think it's too early, for any of even a big business to come into Metaverse or Decentraland without actually having an actual goal or something. So for the medium business retailers to get in, I think, they wouldn't want to get in at the moment because they really don't have anything to sell. It's just the big brands that is just focusing on, trying to sell this stuff. So people who really
Yeah,
wouldn't want to buy any unbranded or medium business, things at the moment that are virtually, which they can't really use. So, I mean, to me, it's an hype at the moment, but we don't know where is it going to go. It could be
yeah,
the actual world in a few years down the line.
yeah. I think it's kind of the evolution of technology in general. Is you come up with a very useful technology, and the first application is generally more whimsical and for fun. And so, even if you look at NFTs right now, I think that a lot of it is just for speculation, but
Hmm.
there are
Yeah.
some real world, very useful applications for NFTs where, just to ensure the authenticity of goods. I think on the consumer
Yeah.
side, NFTs are an amazing way to hold and carry very private and personal information across the blockchain where you can use in any retailer. And I think the metaverse will be the same. It's just like when you introduce a very good technology, you almost have to mask it as something that's very fun, and then as it grows, it'll have a real world, use case. I mean, look at Facebook, right? When you first started, what do you think? It's an advertising thing? No, but that's what it is now.
It's like the internet. Internet was very expensive, to consume 1 gigabyte of internet. 20 years back was very expensive, but now you get, for $5 you get a month full of internet. Probably 3 GB a day. So that's a lot.
Right.
So yeah,
Correct.
we don't know how is it gonna be until it actually comes out.
Exactly.
Thank
Great.
you, guys. Thank you. Thank you for the lovely conversation we had witnessed for this 1 hour. I think it was amazing. We have great learning experience for the audience as well as for everyone. So just to sum up, I know time is up, but I want one line from each one of you, one or two line. What you see yourself means how is the retail industry changing in the next 1 year? Just quickly means whatever comes to your mind. We can start with Katie. Means what do you think retail industry will change in the next 1 year? I'll not go 3 years, 5 years, but yeah, next 1 year.
I think that consumption experiences of what we think of tomorrow are going to become absolutely mainstream and like bare minimum. Like people need to find new and interesting ways to get their products to consumers, in particular omnichannel retailers, faster than Amazon. And so it's not like optional anymore. So I would say really creating like frictionless consumer experiences. I think you're going to start seeing more and more from brands you didn't expect.
Yeah. Thank you, Katie. And I see Pradeep and Prakash platform also. It looks very nice. Thanks
Thank you,
to
everyone.
guys. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I just went through the platform from the last few days. It's showing very huge competition to a lot of brands. So any comments from you, both of you? What do you see yourself in the next 1 year? What do you see the market for
So
you?
we focus on the products which people don't know exist, and these are really strange and weird products which could actually help in a very small situation which you have no idea about. So to us, last 2 years have been amazing, and the next 1 year, technologically, I don't know, we're coming up with more solutions to get the right product to the right customer. So that's what our focus on will be for the next 1 year.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. I think it's a great focus, and technology is changing the world. So next 1 year, I think it's a great, especially from your point of view as well. Thank you. So we'll quickly move to Sharon. Sharon, you can just quickly what's your viewpoint? You are from the academia sector, so you can give some thought process on that as well.
From all
Next
the
1 year.
yeah, from all the research and all the things going on, I believe personalization at scale is going to take place within the next 1 year, with people using AI for immersive experiences, bringing in early into the design process, experience design, design strategy, design thinking, those kind of stuff, and validating customers' needs. It's all about personalization at scale. I think that will happen pretty shortly.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. I know personalization is very important because every person has a different dreams to buy when they are at to take whatever they go into the website for. And I think personalization is very important. Victor, your last comment.
No, I think what everyone said is right on the money. More personalizations, better user experience, that kind of thing. I don't think you're going to see like a major change. Like I don't think Metaverse is going to happen like this year for every
Yeah.
retailer. It's more down the road.
Sure, sure. Thank you, Victor. Drew, so you have moderated this session very well. So, last comment from you means what do you see your company doing in the next 1 year, which can help you achieve your objectives?
Yeah, I think that, like I said, I think COVID changed everything, and it, in business and in startups land, a lot of venture capitalists ask you, what is the big shift, right? It's always necessary a big shift in consumer buying habits that usually like forces an adoption of technology. And that's kind of like one of the benefits of, if there's, I mean, it's terrible to say any benefits of COVID, but if there's a silver lining of COVID, it's that it has really forced brands to integrate and think about technology a lot more, which in turn provides the consumer a much better, more efficient customer experience. And then once people get used to a very good customer experience online, then it's very hard to go back, right? I mean, if you think about people now, like people won't even go to the drugstore that's like 500 feet away, right? They'll like Instacart it, right? And so
I'm
once you get
shopping
used to
everything,
that,
everything online is, I'm not sure everybody is doing or not, but 99.9% I'm shopping everything online nowadays.
yeah, it's like,
Nothing, not going to anyone. So this has
right.
changed in the last couple of years. I mean, I think you're right. After COVID, it all depends on the habit. Now you are in the habit of that, so you don't want to go.
Exactly. And so like I think that started with, products that are necessities, like your basics, like food and stuff at the drugstore. But now it's going to really translate to brands and, goods necessarily that you don't really need but desire. So
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, everyone, for your comments and the lovely conversation we had. So, just to wrap up, we would like to thank our technology partner, Digit 7, and all our community partners, speakers, and attendees who came together for enriching knowledge through this forum. It was really interesting discussion which we have witnessed for the last 1 hour, and I really enjoyed it and to learn about the depth of the conversation which we witnessed. So please log on to our website and like our social media channels. We'll be sharing lots of knowledge sharing topics, details, announcement of next events, and much more, which will help you register and attend the same. Just for your information, who have logged in late, today's event was broadcasted in the YouTube and the Facebook page of our company. So you all can go and see the recording anytime. There are lots more in store for subsequent months as well. This month we are having one more retail event where we have 12 quality speakers that is happening on March 25th. It's a half-day virtual event, so you all can go and register there as well through our website in case you have not registered for the same. Then we have factories event next month. Then we have transportation after that, aviation, and so on. So request all of you to keep connected with us and enjoy the learning with us. Have a lovely day ahead, all of you guys. Take care. Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you, Nathan. Have a Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.